So who are some middle game units that can fix your maddening run? Now, if you get to the middle game and you find that your units are either bad or just aren't popping off, this video is for you, because essentially in this particular run, this is exactly what happened to me, and I fixed my team by running the units I'm going to outline. So the first unit I think that can easily fix your run is Ivy. Ivy comes with Lyn by default, and Lyn fixes her speed. When you upgrade Lyn and do her paralog, you can hit ridiculous levels of speed, and when combined with speed plus 4 passive, the speed from the emblem ring itself, and speed taker, Ivy will double consistently, and all you have to do if you have any problem with hitting on her, which can sometimes be an issue, which is more so an issue for like late game, is just engrave her Bolganon. But you can run Elfire and Bolganon on her and use and switch between them as needed to hit doubling threshold. You can also run Elwind. She can also be like a heal user. She can run heal and physic and restore, so she has damage, she has doubling, and for low investment you have a unit that can easily start tanking hits outside of effective against air, like archers and wind magic, and she can also deal good damage. But Ivy is definitely a good replacement unit. Another unit is Panette. All you have to do is put her on Warrior, or even leave her on Berserker for a few level ups, then switch her over to Warrior after like 5 to 10 level ups. Throw a Brave Axe on her with Ike, and she will generally one-round things. If you put Erica on her, she will most definitely one-round things. So here's an example of her killing something. So look at that damage, 82 damage, low investment. She, like right out of the box, she just kills things. This is easier to use than her crit build. She'll still take some damage on counterattack if she doesn't one round or like during enemy phase. She usually has high enough health to tank things, but late game that might be an issue, so you just have to position her better. But this will help you through the middle game for sure. Another unit is Marin. If you reclass Marin to Wyvern and throw either a strength plus 2 bond ring or a decent emblem ring on her, she will pop off. So for example, this Marin is able to one round and double this enemy pretty easily. Now she is also using a silver sword, so one of her best weapons is silver sword, and you can see I haven't used the speed wing. But Marin is a solid unit. And another unit is Timera. So Timera enters your team with Ike. All you have to do is Master Seal her into Picket immediately, and when she has Ike equipped and active, she takes half damage. On top of her high speed and decent res, she can tank pretty much like anything for at least a single combat. So if 2 or 3 things attack her when Ike is active, she usually tanks it. She can also counterattack, and she can also one-round a lot of things. So, like, this is a perfect example. She can just walk right up to this Bolganon and just one-round him and does no damage to her and hits single. Like, it doesn't hit twice. So she can one-round this enemy. Looks like this guy might be kind of fast. She can one-round this with the Javelin, but she can also trigger Sandstorm. So once she hits Picket level 5, she can do things like this. Let me check Ragnall. Ragnall does not double. Alright, so I'll go for the Javelin. Let's see if we get a crit or Sandstorm, because Wrath increases crit rate, so she got a crit there, she got a Sandstorm, she one-rounded that enemy. So even though against more high durability enemies her damage might be a little bit lower, she can still crit or Sandstorm on Ike pretty reliably. And between the two of them, especially if you're tanking during enemy phase, she can tank hits with a Javelin equipped and counterattack, and this is also a very cheap weapon to level up. So basically all of Timera's squad are perfect units to run right away. Other units, Zelkov, Kagetsu, and of course Ivy, who I mentioned earlier, these are all ready to go, ready to join your team and make an impact. Other units, Gold Mary, if you reclass her on General, she can be really strong. She comes with 1800 SP, so what I have her running is essentially like a debuff build where she pokes enemies and holds the front line, so I have 2 tanks, and she can debuff enemies, reducing their speed and increasing your allies' hit and damage, because the debuff affects all stats. So it helps your allies double, it helps them hit harder. So if you enable doubling on an ally, you've doubled their damage if they couldn't double that enemy beforehand, and also it reduces defense, so it increases damage even further beyond just doubling. But these are some good units to run, and of course Hortensia. She's a really solid unit. She definitely is frail when you get her, so you usually want to get HP plus 5 or 7, and cancer is always good. She can be like a dedicated healer who sometimes contributes to damage. This is an enemy mage, so she's not going to be hurting this. But she can contribute to damage. She can use staves. She has pretty good utility because she can heal a little bit further. So for example, if I was like over here, she can use a basic healing staff at this range, which is very nice. So she's also a good replacement unit. Rosado can be a decent replacement unit as well. Pretty much all of the units you get in mid-game, aside from like Bune, are good replacement units. Fagato, if you reclass him on Warrior, is a solid replacement unit. And Pandreo is just a solid unit, so you can just run him immediately. So most of the units you get in mid-game, aside from Bune, are really good. Rosado can be good as well. I would switch him on lances. He uses spears, he uses lances and axes, and a lot of his weapons are axes, but I would switch him on lances and you'll find that he does much better. So this will fix your team. I actually used this in this playthrough because I had a lot of bad units. I'm also running Etier currently and Fram. Fram is decent. She's definitely not as bad as you would think, but she's not as good as you would think either. She's not like this high impact unit. Like, she definitely brings something to the table, but it's not like as good as these middle of the game units, because Panette, with like no investment, just running up one rounding. Marin is one rounding. Alir in this case is one rounding. She can't one round, but she can stab with this for huge damage. So if this was upgraded, this would hit much harder. Potentially one rounding. Ivy, she might be able to one round this. Let's see. She almost can. These enemies are high res, so I don't really blame her. Now, if I have her attack next to Alir, I do one round. So Ivy is very solid. She kind of power levels herself if you just leave Lyn on her. And she's a really good replacement unit. But yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely feel free to drop a comment if you found this useful, or if you have other units that you'd like to replace some of the starter units with. Generally, the way the game goes is you start off with a few good units and some kind of like bad units that usually want replaced, and it's up to you as to who you replace and who you run and who you invest in. But this can help save a maddening run if you're not running DLC. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you in the next one.